Ever wake up one day and decide to choose violence? Well, today we check out Campo Delgado, a man who went on a killing spree in Bogota, Colombia.
Ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Meat Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on. We thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin. We here at Angry Me Production want to thank our sponsor, Mobile Notary Mindy. She's certified with the National Notary Association. She's also bonded and E&O insured. She offers a wide range of services including wills, powers of attorney, medical documents, healthcare proxies, living wills, certification of trust, assignment of personal property, HIPAA waivers, advanced healthcare directives, and 99 verification. You can find her on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Mobile Notary Mindy. You can also visit her webpage at texasmobilenotarymindy.com. That's TX, mobilenotarymindy.com. Thank you so much, and enjoy the show.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Yes, I have been absent on Nerd Sports for it's going to be like 3 weeks because I'm not going to be able to do this next Monday's episode. But yeah, I'm here now with you. And I took last week off. I had to do some stuff with family and friends, and I decided to take the week off. I didn't want to have any. I'm not gonna lie, this stuff kind of doesn't like hit me hard, but it gets me a little bit to where you see the evils of the world, and it just sometimes you blink a little bit. Sometimes I don't. But anyways, we're gonna go over this guy. It's a weird one. Now, Campo Ellis Delgado Morales, son of Ellis Delgado and Rita Ellis, Elsa Morales, was born May 14th, 1934. His father committed suicide, and he held his mother responsible for the entire incident. Delgado also was an excellent student and studied medicine. Now, he did have a service record for the military, but according to National Personal Records Center, Delgado served the U.S. Army from August 12th, 1975 to August 11th, 1978. He was honorably discharged as a sergeant first class. But during that time frame, he said he was actually a Vietnam. He served in Vietnam, but a lot of the people that talked about Delgado that was in his service, especially fellow soldier Art Finley, claims he met Delgado in the 5th Infantry 3rd Battalion while in Panama Central Canal Zone in 1975. He was later stationed at a medical center in El Paso, Texas in 1978. Now, on to the killing spree. On December 3rd, 1986, around noon, Delgado entered entered Blanco del Bogota, basically the Bank of Bogota in English language, to close his account and withdraw his entire deposit of, and this is COP, Colombia pesos, valuing $49,896.93, while the cashier handed him a round number of the pesos. Delgado insisted on retrieving the remaining 43 cents later on. Entering during the afternoon of the same day or that next morning, Delgado brought a 32 caliber Smith & Wesson Model 31-1 revolver and 500 rounds of ammunition. Now, on December 4th, at approximately 2 p.m., Delgado went to an apartment building in Cali 118, number 440-11, and entered the apartment of 304, where Nora Barci de Recinto lived together. Both of them lived together with their 14-year-old daughter, Claudia, whom Delgado had given lessons in English, as well as her 11-year-old son, Julio and Darlo, her mother and a friend of the latter. Beside Nora Bracenta and her daughter, nobody was at home at the time. Delgado gagged and handcuffed Nora and fatally stabbed her 4 times with a hunting knife that he purchased also. On the couch in the living room, he also gagged Claudia Recinto and bound her hands and feet before stabbing her 22 times and leaving her body dead on the bed. The bodies were found next day by Geraldo Endoro. I think it's Endoro. Steve's
Eduardo.
Eldorado. At 4 p.m., Delgado was back in the apartment he shared with his mother at Cordillera 7, Cali 52. Around 5:30 p.m., after a heated argument with her, he walked up behind Rita Delgado and killed her with a single stab to the back of the neck. Afterwards, wrapping her body in newspapers and sprinkling it with gasoline, he set it on fire. Delgado, I'm gonna mess these things up because my mouth is just really weird. But Delgado then grabbed his revolver and a briefcase containing 5 boxes of ammunition and a knife, and ran through the apartment complex screaming, "Fire, fire," and went downstairs and rang at the apartment 301, where students Stephanie Hawkins, because it's a female voice now,
Inés Gordy Gallant,
and Nessa Patricia Cortez were living, saying that he needed to call the fire department. As soon as they opened the door, Delgado killed them both, women, with a single shot to the head, and then proceeded to apartment 302, where he did the same with Gloria Elizabeth Delgado Leon. God, Spanish people have long names, like 50,000 different names. It's a running joke in some spectacles, and it's funny. Who had been alarmed by the shooting and opened the door to investigate. Delgado then beheaded 2 of the first floor, where he rang up apartment 101, again pretending to that they needed to call the fire department. The apartment was occupied by 4 other women. Mrs. Beretta Gomez, who's saved her life by jumping out into the courtyard, as well as Students Medilla Rico Gonzalez, Mercedes Galumbo, and Claudia Del Pilar Dunray. I'm not even going to try to do that other name. Were all shot. While Delgado still screamed, "Fire, fire," the door was opened by Claudia Del Pilar Bermudez, who turned towards the kitchen to get him a wet cloth. When she turned around, Delgado shot her in the back of the head. Gonzalez, who had already picked up a telephone receiver, and Gambolo, both dead at the scene, while Claudia Bermudez died a few hours later at the hospital of San Juan. Outside the building, Delgado started a couple of minutes at a poster advertising a play, Blood Wedding, at a local theater. Meanwhile, Barilla Gomez stopped to a police patrol and asked them for help. Although seeing the fire in the fourth floor, the officers respond that this is more of a case of the fire department. Therefore, they didn't intervene. Oh my God. Sometimes I just hate people in general. I mean, I seriously, this was a perfect time, do a due diligence. It's some people, this just reminds me of Uvalde. The cops could have done something, but they didn't. Yes, I'm going back that deep. But anyways, Delgado eventually left for house number 201 in Clardelia, 28A, number 51 to 31, where the Castro family was living, with whom he had been friends for 5 years. He revived there about 15 minutes later in a rather elegant... Stephanie Hawkins, please.
Agitated.
Agitated state. I just couldn't get to that word very well. Against his habit of being a man of rather few words, Delgado talked incessantly, repeating sentences several times and pacing through the living room, declining any of Mrs. Carlos's interventions to sit down. According to Calmelia de Castro, Delgado told her that he had come to say farewell, as he had brought one way ticket and he was going on a trip to America or China. At 6:45 p.m., Delgado left the Castros, assuring them that they would soon hear from him, and went to Pizzeria Pastono, an Italian restaurant in Chaparro. Stephanie Hawkins. Chapinero district, where he ate frequently, discarding the hunting knife on the way. By the time police and journalists were searching for the murderer throughout the city, Delgado arrived at the restaurant at 7:15 p.m., greeting the waiters, and ordered half a bottle of red wine and spaghetti bolognese. The waiter noticed that during his meal, Delgado went to the restroom several times. After finishing his meal, Delgado began to read an American magazine, ordered 2 screwdriver cocktails, and paid his bill. After drinking the third vodka, around 8:15, he sat down at the bar to have a fourth. Around 9:15 p.m., Delgado opened fire on the diners. Delgado shot a total of 32 people, 20 of them fatalities, and his method was to corner his victims and shoot them point-blank range into the forehead, and then moved on to the next victim. Delgado promised not to kill any children, but he accidentally killed a 6-year-old girl sitting on an adjacent table with his revolver, misfiring. When police arrived 10 minutes later, Delgado turned his attention to them, holding them off for 1 minute. He was apparently killed with a shot to the temple by a police officer. There was also a belief that Delgado committed suicide. After some time, police discovered with a comparison of bullets that Delgado was shot by a police officer while he was reloading. Now, there's a long list of victims on this of his, but we're not going to go through them. It's a long list. But in the aftermath, the apartment where Delgado killed his first 10 victims is reportedly haunted. Now, a prolific serial killer, Luis Gravito, Admiral Delgado, and other murderers developed a desire to emulate him and go on a murder-suicide killing spree after murdering his family. He developed the idea after watching news of the Ponzonto massacre on TV at a bar. He believed going in a murder-suicide killing spree like Delgado would be a good way to go. Now we'll go over him next week. But that is it on this one. It was a very short one. I just didn't want to do a big one. I was going to do Luis Garavito, but I found this guy and want to do that. And I really want to give a last year of how do you do's, and hope everybody's doing good. We're steadily growing, and it's too much surprise. And thank you all for that is listening, and thank you all that are watching our videos. Hopefully we can improve it a little bit more, have more guests. I'm gonna have not this Sunday, but on the 7th, we're gonna have another one come out. I'm gonna have Cynthia Anderson back, the promoter. She's got a couple of musicians that are around town that want to come on the podcast. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? The interviews, I wish I could do more of. That's really what I really want to do. But I kind of like learning new things also. And it's really the reason why I like doing the serial killers. And this is just basically an homage to this episode is pretty much an homage to everybody else. And what I hope to get in the future. But I honestly, I really like doing this. Sometimes it's a little bit of hassle to get everything up and going and into a big ball, but I do it. And luckily I have help now. Chris and Johnny are wonderful hosts and wonderful friends, and I'm glad I brought them in on this. They're gonna have, well, Johnny mostly is gonna have a little bit of a hard time because, like I said, he's going to college and everything, and his days off are just gonna be on Monday to do episodes. And hopefully he said he's gonna come on and do some couple of Psycho and Sociopath episodes, which is gonna be good because some of these are very long-winded and very, very difficult to say words on. But it's been a nice, I guess it's 3 years. It might be about 4 years since I started this, but just doing it as a hobby. I love doing it. If I become like super, super big, don't worry. I will shun all the small people in my life. Not really. But I'm genuinely surprised at the people that I have either commenting on my stuff and just giving me a little bit of word of wisdom. I mean, I had one recently. I'll go over this person's stuff. Just recently on our first Psychos and Sociopaths, Vicky Dawn Johnson, and it was Marie Jordan commented, "I was raised in Nocona. I knew Vicky and her sister. Vicky was always seemed like a nice person. She worked night shift at the nursing home, and when I lived there, now we all wondered in the residents of the nursing home if there's more victims that actually died of natural causes or not," which is actually it's kind of, you always have that wondering of if that person ended up like killing everybody or they actually died of natural causes. It's one of those things for the family that they don't know if their family member died quietly in their sleep or they died because someone forced their death. It's one of those things, you know, just gonna set heavy on your shoulders. But everybody, like I've always said, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully, you get a little bit of enjoyment of this short episode. And goodbye.